The Tennessee Titans have a lot of breakout candidates this year, and I am here to tell you who I think is the most likely to break out of all of them. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I am your host, Micah McCamey, and in last episode, we decided, hey, let's defend T'Vondre Sweat and talk about the positives behind him and why people are overreacting to his mandatory minicamp stuff. We also talked about how Marcus May signed with the Miami Dolphins, and even though it was a little soul-crushing because that was one of the guys that Ren Carthon really wanted and he kind of struck out on, we still are very optimistic because there are still safeties on the market like Justin Simmons, Jamal Adams. I know people aren't really fans of that, but whatever. And Micah Hyde, those types of guys. So, let's get right into the episode that we were about to get into, talking about every single breakout candidate for the Tennessee Titans in 2024, at least on the offensive side. Now, man, I know, like there's one specific candidate that I'm going to save for later, but I look back at last year's episode on this because I did a top 5 instead of doing just one dude and a couple of dudes building up to this one dude. But man, it was not good. Let me tell you that. All right, I had one good prediction for a breakout candidate, and he was a rookie. So let me tell you what the list was last year. We had Treylon Burks, Chig Okonkwo, Andre Dillard, Kyle Phillips, and Tyjae Spears. Now, the Tyjae one was actually kind of decent, but two of those dudes are going to get cut. One dude isn't even on the team anymore, and he's a third-string tackle in Green Bay. And the fourth dude is potentially not even going to start this year. Yeah, let's just say that my predictions last year were quite horrible. But I promise this year they'll be better, I think, maybe. I guess that one of these predictions could very well end up being like Andre Dillard last year. But anyway, let's get right on into it. All right, so there are a few honorable mentions that I want to talk about because this is not a top 5 list. This is a couple of dudes building up to one dude that I really want to talk about. I feel like I haven't talked about him, so I want to give him his flowers. So, all right, first honorable mention is Will Levis. Now, this dude would be I know that you're shocked because you would expect me to have this dude as my most likely breakout candidate because of how high I am on Will Levis. But let me tell you this right now, all right? I've already gone in depth on Will Levis in another video. I'm not too sure which corner it's in, but I'll probably have a card somewhere in one of these two corners explaining to you why I think Will Levis is destined for a breakout year. So I think I've given him too much limelight already, and I feel like there are other dudes that I can talk about. So yeah, if you want, he's got a strong arm. He's a leader, and he's just overall just a very smart guy. So I am excited to see what he does next year. If you want a more in-depth thing, again, that card that I told you about earlier, that will probably do a better explanation of why I think he's going to break out than I can right here, because I don't want to waste too much time. Okay, so now we move on to other people that I'm going to go more in depth on, all right? And the next person that I'm going to talk about is, again, Tyjae Spears. Now, even though I said that it was accurate that he broke out this year, I still don't think he's broken out enough. I think that he could very well end up being the best running back on the Titans roster. He's young, he's explosive, and he's just overall very fun. He's a receiving threat for Will Levis. Made some very crucial catches last year, like a beautiful over-the-shoulder grab against the Miami Dolphins, where it was a good thing because it led to a field goal drive, which if we didn't have that field goal, we would have lost the game. I know that is probably not as big of a deal as some of the other things that happened in that game, but still, it's still something to consider. So now I gotta talk about this though, because I'm gonna have at least one negative for each of these next few dudes. The one negative for Tyjae is that even though I think that he may be the best running back on our roster, the problem is that we signed a running back this year, Tony Pollard, and they're probably going to end up splitting snaps. So I am worried that Tajay won't break out as much as he can because Tony Pollard will probably steal a couple of his snaps. But overall, I am really excited to see what Tajay Spears does, whether he doesn't run the ball or if he's a receiving threat or he's a ground and pound style. I think he'll be used on the goal line more than Tony Pollard will. So there's a lot of talk about Tajay Spears, but overall, I just think he's going to have a really good year. He may end up breaking out, and I think he'll steal some reps from Tony Pollard, even though I said that may be a reason that he doesn't break out. So now we move on to the next guy, and let me tell you guys, all right, it takes a lot for me to swallow my pride. Obviously, I have to swallow my pride because Andre Dillard, but with like guys like that. But I gotta say this. I think I was wrong on this next guy. Right guard, Sadiq Charles.
Can't you see that I was wrong?
I said earlier on in a really crappy episode, I'm not going to leave a card for it because it was just that bad. The quality was really bad. The mic sound was not good. So I'm just going to leave that one away right now because I do not want y'all to see that with a 10-foot pole. But I went over the right guard battle, and I said that Brunskill is the most safe option, and I said that Radens was the option that I thought was going to win it. But then I also said that I thought that Sadiq Charles was the raw one, and he wasn't really going to get a chance at it. I was so wrong about that. Sadiq Charles may actually end up winning the job, and even though this is kind of a placeholder for any of the right guards, between Radens and Sadiq Charles, because we're pretty confident that Daniel Brunskill is out of the race. But still, like, between these two right guards, I think Sadiq will end up winning it. And let me tell you, man, he is also young, and he also has showed flashes in Washington, and overall he's given hope towards why you would expect him to break out and have a good year this year. But there is a problem. Again, he's not proven. Like, he had one starting year last year, and he was forgettable, to say the least. Sometimes even downright bad at moments. Like, it's not like I can, give you this dude and be like, yes, this guy, he's going to be a dog. Like, I'm not going to tell you that, all right? I made that mistake with Andre Dillard, and I'm not going to make it again, all right? So I think that this dude is better than Andre Dillard, quite honestly. But I do also believe that I think that he will end up being an anchor on the line this year. And I may be completely wrong. One more positive about this guy is that he's what Bill Callahan is looking for. Powerful, physical, doesn't rely on agility as much. Like, that's what we need on the offensive line right now. It's why we drafted J.C. Latham. It's why we signed Lloyd Cushenberry. All right? All of this stuff has a reason behind it. Okay? So, I've been talking about other dudes leading up to this guy. And like I said, I've been talking about these guys, but they're not the ones that I think are most likely to break out. Well, except for Levis, but you get the point. The most likely player to break out, probably more than Levis, if I'm being honest, is my man, left guard,
Peter Glutsky.
Let's talk about this. Dude had an appendectomy surgery. I think that's how it's pronounced. If I may be completely wrong on that, and please feel free to correct me in the comment section, all right? Of YouTube, or just at me on Twitter or Instagram if you're listening over podcast. It's at the Titans Rundown. So I just want to say this. Again, appendectomy surgery. Combine that with the fact that he had bad offensive line coaching. Combine that with the fact that he still looked good last year. He has the chance to just absolutely explode in year 2. The positives are, first off, again, he ended off the year insanely strong. Was an absolute mauler against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 18. I know that there are some people that are going to be really mad that I mentioned that game. But still, like, it's here to prove my point. And the reason that he's probably not getting enough attention from Titans fans is that he's just boring. Like, I can't even deny that to you. But, you know, I would not be shocked if he ends up being the best offensive lineman here. Yes, that includes Lloyd Cushenberry, and that includes J.C. Latham. That even includes Sadiq Charles and it especially includes whoever the right tackle is going to be. That situation does not look too bright. Let's be real. All right, so again, Skronsky, most likely to break out by far. The Northwestern Project, he looks like an absolute dog. And again, he's another dude that Bill Callahan would look at and be like, yes, that is my offensive lineman. He's big, he's beefy, and he's just overall very strong. He's not going to win against you with his agility. He's going to beat you with his raw power. So, that is the end of today's episode. Yes, I know, again, I'm not going to be releasing too many long episodes throughout the next few weeks because we don't have training camp to talk about. So, again, a recap on today's episode. We have our most likely offensive breakout candidates are Tajay Spears, Will Levis, Sadiq Charles, and the most likely of all is Peter Skronsky. And I gave my reasons earlier on in the video, so I don't think I need to repeat them. So, I have Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. They're all under the Titans Rundown. And for people that are listening over podcasting, I also have YouTube. You can listen. You can watch those videos. You can watch this. You can watch this a lot more visually, and you are also able to get access to some of my YouTube videos that are exclusively put on YouTube. So, anyway, that's gonna do it all for me. This has been a rundown of your Tennessee Titans. I love y'all. And tighten up.